Okay, so I made a video before this one, but then I realized my ADHD got so out of control that the video made no sense. So I'm making another video about what they don't tell you about ADHD, and this is it. So I'm just gonna be a little more organized with it. I'm just gonna break it down. So number one, I was diagnosed with ADHD in 2007. Number two, I was also diagnosed with dyslexia. Number three, I'm an English major. I'm a junior in college. Stop. My camera's all fucked up. Three, I'm three. Three, I'm a junior in college. I have a 3.6 GPA, not like grades matter or anything. I'm from New Jersey. That's it. Oh, that's basically it. Oh, I had a 2.4 in high school. This is just the start of the video. Oh, and I'm diagnosed with anxiety. So yeah. Okay, so the first thing they don't tell you about ADHD is that you don't have to go on medication. Okay, don't let them tell you that you have to go on medication. You don't. There's so many things that you can do. And people who don't have ADHD, who are these therapists or psychologists or tutors, they don't know because they don't have ADHD. So they don't know the things that work for you. So I'm going to tell you, as someone with ADHD, oh my god, I just died. Oh my god. Okay, anyway, I'm just gonna... Obviously, this video is very chaotic. I'm gonna tell you from someone that's like you what to do if you have ADHD and how to just love yourself, not be on medication, do great at school, do great in your relationships, do great in your life, do great in your career, get a job. All that funky stuff I'm gonna tell you right now as someone who succeeded. But anyway, yeah. So, I'm just gonna get it out there. I have been to so many tutors and psychologists and therapists that diagnosed me with ADHD, and they just did not give me the right tactics that are gonna work. A lot of it was just like, oh, sit down, do your work. Like, that's not gonna help me. Number one, I don't think that even helps someone who doesn't have ADHD, who just needs help. That's not gonna help them. So I took Adderall between my freshman year of college, October of my freshman year to college, all the way to May of okay, so I took Adderall all of my freshman year of college. And it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot, Adderall. Number one, it taught me that, like, all you really need as someone with ADHD is stimulation. Like, that is what's going to help you succeed in school and help you succeed in life. If you're being stimulated by things, not drugs, not sex, not anything unhealthy, I'm talking about your brain is getting stimulated to a maximum, you are going to be happy. A lot of times they like to tell ADHD kids, oh, just take a break, or you shouldn't listen to music while you're studying because it's going to distract you, or you shouldn't do this. That's all fallacy. Like, that's all debunkable because someone with ADHD needs that stimulation. They actually need to have multiple things going on at once, or they can't focus because our brains get bored extremely easily. Like, for example, in relationships, I'm trying not to be toxic, but in relationships, like, I might be the type of person that needs to have something always going on, whether that's fighting, sex, going out a lot, you know, maybe different, like, whatever, something different. Like, that's someone who has ADHD. It's gonna affect them in relationships. They're gonna get bored really easily. They're gonna need more stimulation. They're gonna need this. Like, it does really fall into your family life, your relationships, and your emotional well-being, ADHD. This is not just something that affects you educationally. This is something that affects you all around. And for anyone that says, like, that it doesn't, like, I don't know, like, it's just really weird to me, like, the things they taught me in high school and middle school, just, like, it's like you only could have someone who has ADHD giving you the advice that you need to get through ADHD. You can't have some normal person, because a normal person's gonna be like, oh, well, if you want to study, just turn off all your distractions, and that's not how an ADHD person works. So what's helped me a lot is just when I'm studying for something I don't like. Because if I really like something, I will sit down and do it. Like, for example, I love history. I love even though, like, I'm a creative writing major, I really do love history. Like, I could watch videos about anything that has to do with history all day. So, a class like that, I might not really need to listen to music, or I might not really need to take breaks often. I might be actually super hyper focused on it. But subjects that might not be that interesting to me, for example, biology. I am not interested in anything that has to do with science. So, something that's going to grasp my attention a little more with science is I'm going to have to put on some distractions. So, I used to do this with my Spanish homework. I ended up getting a B, so I obviously didn't, this wasn't the best thing for me to do, but it really helped. Instead of sitting down and just doing my Spanish homework, which would bore the fuck out of me, and in 10 minutes I would end up back on TikTok, I would actually put on the news or something kind of like, not something you're super interested in, so something like the news. I don't think a lot of people are interested in the news anymore. Like, something like the news, or maybe like SpongeBob. Like, SpongeBob, you can't, I mean, I don't know, it's pretty funny, but like, I can't sit down and just watch SpongeBob. So, putting on something on the TV while you're doing the work that's not that interesting is actually going to have you get through it pretty fairly quickly, instead of doing it for 5 minutes and then getting bored and then going on TikTok or whatever, or walking around your house a bunch of times. You know, like, putting on something in the background is actually going to help you. So that could be TV, music, it could be an audiobook, it could be a podcast. I do that a lot. I put on podcasts a lot when I'm just doing something that I maybe don't want to do. So things like checking your emails, really fucking boring to anyone, not just people with ADHD. Cleaning your room. People with ADHD have a really hard time with don't look at my room. But people with ADHD have a hard time, like, cleaning and organizing. So while you're organizing, instead of just organizing and then getting bored and giving up, like, putting on a podcast in the background really can help. Or putting on something educational that's going to benefit you really helps. This helped me a lot in college when I was learning about different things, because while I was doing my laundry, instead of, like, doing my laundry then giving up, I would put my AirPods in and, like, just listen to a podcast or have a YouTube video playing about something that I'm really interested in the background. Like, that's super, just, like, that's the one thing that's helped me so much, because in high school, I was just told, sit down and do it. Like, just turn off all your distractions, sit down and do it. And no, like, that's fucking, you're gonna give up. Like, you have to have things going on in the background. Okay, my other advice is, if you're someone who has, like, oral fixations, which I do too, I was really addicted to juuling for so long, and this was the thing that got me off of juuling. Drinking cold things. They're gonna tell you this a lot for people who stop smoking too, but if you've never smoked before, this is also gonna help you study too, because it's gonna give you that feeling. And use straws. Use straws. Don't use plastic straws. Use metal straws. But use straws, and the act of putting the straw in your mouth and drinking cold water, cold soda, cold juice, whatever it is going to feel like an oral fixation to you. It's going to be giving you that reward factor that your brain needs, because people with ADHD are lacking the reward system. So that's, like, another one of my advice. Making snacks, like, having snacks on hand all the time. Number one, a lot of people with ADHD, medication or not, do have an issue with food. I've noticed this, throughout having peers with ADHD, having friends who have ADHD, all of that. We have an issue with food. I don't know what it is. We either undereat or overeat. I think when we're hyper-focused, we undereat, and then when we are bored, we overeat. So having snacks on hand is going to do both. It's going to help you from overeating, and it's actually going to help you from undereating, because you're still going to be eating. So it helps you from both. And having a snack on hand, not in your bedroom where you're studying or wherever you are, but in a place where you can walk to, is beneficial, because while you're on those breaks, and I'm going to talk about the break system too, is you go and you get the snack, and that's a reward for you, and that feels good. So I explained this in my last video that I had to delete, but it works like this. You put a timer on for 20 minutes on your phone. You do your work for the 20 minutes. Once the timer's off, you can take a 5-minute break. During that 5-minute break, do something productive. Don't go on TikTok, because you'll end up on there for hours. Don't go on Netflix. You'll end up there on hours. You know, just get a snack. Do some yoga. Watch a YouTube video. Listen to a podcast. Do something that's going to give you some reward. So that's kind of like my biggest advice, and then work your way up. So I do it a lot with reading. There's some books that I don't want to read. I have to read though for leisure and school, because if you are a good reader, you're a good writer. That's just how it works. And if I'm bored with a book, like I'll be like, okay, Mia, you know what? You're gonna sit down and read this for 20 minutes, and after you can go take a little break. You can go eat some chips, you can go get some soda, whatever. You're gonna go back to it, set the timer for 20 minutes. And just doing that, one, you get so much done, and two, it feels really good. It feels really rewarding, and just, I don't know, you feel good. You feel good when you get things done. So another bit of advice that I have is, when you have off days, where you have days where you just are fucking like unfocused, you don't want to do anything, you just want to do what you want to do, and your ADHD is super bad, and you're picking fights with people, and you're aggravated, and all of that, don't beat yourself up, because beating yourself up is going to push you down in the hole more. I was in that hole for years. I wouldn't get something done, my parents would comment on it, or I would comment on it, and I would just say, oh, Mia, you're never going to do anything, you're never going to be successful, you're never, 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 and you start to feed into that. And don't feed into what people tell you. When people tell you you have ADHD, if you're already diagnosed, and when you get diagnosed, instead of being hurt and saying, oh my god, I have ADHD, I never can do anything, be like, there's so many things I can do with ADHD that make me honestly more superpower than, ew, I hate that I use that word, but it makes me so much more different and unique than other people, because once I'm interested in something, I will fall in love with it, and it'll be my life. And that is such a true fact about ADHD. If you told me that I have to study for history a whole day, or I have to write 20 pages in a day, I will be so glad to do it, and it will make my world. And I will probably do it better than, no offense, not a narcissist here, but I'll do it better than the average person, because the average person might not have that stimulation to get super hyper focused on something. So you just have to say that. You have to say, once I find my passion, and if you already did, I will be so good at it, because I will have all the stimulation in the world. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. I don't know. That's pretty much it. That's all my advice, and I hope you guys do great in your career and studies and all of that shit. Alright, bye.